I want to recognize all of you who are here. You all distinguished guests in your own right. I want to also acknowledge our diploma partners and importantly, inspiration I got this morning when I stepped in. I was a little bit late. I arrived at 7 o'clock, but I was visiting the booths outside. And I am totally impressed and inspired that there are Papua New Guineans out there who are working despite the tough times we continue to be exposed to. I want to acknowledge our development partners, especially UNDP, European Union, our bilateral partners, Australia and USA, especially who continue to stand with us in some of our endeavors that we try to pursue to make this happen for our people. Also acknowledge Mr. Sikakau, CEO, and the friends at the Central Bank. Credit Guarantees Corporation, something that we mounted 3 years back, and last year, was it last year or this year, we released 50 million kina. Government released 50 million kina to the Central Bank and for them to start to work in partnership in this space. So I want to sincerely appreciate the Central Bank's focus in supporting government in lending to the micro, small, medium enterprises and our people in our community who want to get engaged in business. Today, as I stepped in also, I see migration from just production to shifting into feeding the raw produce into the manufacturing and downstream processing sector in the agriculture. That is something close to my heart, and I am happy to note that Papua New Guinea is now making the venture into downstream processing of our agricultural produce. It has come to my knowledge, and I want to, in a special way, pay a special commendation to the Correctional Service Institution. They are a country's institution that sits at a catchment of Papua New Guineans who, for one way or another, find themselves on the wrong side of law and end up in the prisons. Since we took office, we've outlaid to them. Prisons must become a conversion point for citizens to have skills and be gaining one skill or another, and as they go back into society, they must be productive citizens. And I just want to step back and say thank you. I see Commissioner and all our team from across Australia. My note tells me of a story of Mrs. Judy Lamo. Today she earns around 3,000 kina, or she pays rather. She pays 3,000 kina for a rental, accommodation rental at Tokorara. She was at the Correctional Service Institution. She learned baking and basic skills. Today, through baking, she's able to support her husband and family, paying off rent and living a decent life in one of our suburbs here out of Port Moresby, the Tokorara suburb. These are stories of Papua New Guineans who, if skilled, if led properly to a lender in our society, and if market is brought closer to them or market is available, then our people need not to be looking for job all over the place. They could have meaningful engagements in their own life. And I'm happy with the stories that are emerging around us. Since 2019, I'm advised that over 65,000 SMEs have been created and engaged. Over 200,000 direct and indirect job has been the multiplier gain, in effect, of an SME focus that has been run. So I just want to step back and thank all in the SME sector. I know many of you. I can name all of you right through, but time is not on our side. And I just want to thank each and every one of you who are advocates of SME as a space for intervention in anchoring job creation, meaningful engagements and employments, business creation, adding value to our society and contributing to our country. Thank you very much for those of you who have strong support to the SME sector. On behalf of your country, I want to step back and say thank you. And today's focus on agriculture is not wrong. And every day, every person in PNG and elsewhere eats. The world today is a world that is interlinked, and in my context, externally, and my own readings and my study, I see that some of the greatest insecurity, or great insecurity rather, of our planet going forward would be food insecurity. Food, water, and energy would be three critical human needs, survival, existential needs going forward into the future. Papua New Guinea may not experience critical food shortage right now because we live on land. Our people still migrate between subsistence life and the cash life. Going forward into the future, cash life, cash economy would take the better of us. That's something that we, as government, we are mindful, and we are asking everyone to participate in the cash economy. But the world is exposed to great food insecurity. I want to point us beyond just PNG's, possibly 15 million people. We're doing census. I hope someone has come around you. If someone has not come around you, there are hotlines available you can bring that, please, I need to be registered. We want to count every citizen and resident in our country. If you're a citizen or if you're a resident, we want to know you. But our 15 to 20 million people, if it is 15 or 20 million people, if they are economically productive, it's good for us. But I want to say that the 15 million people need to eat, but the world out there also needs food. Right next door to us in Indonesia, 270 million people. 270 million people. They need to eat food. I point you to another nation close by, Philippines. Those from Philippines who is here amidst us. We have many Filipinos who are friends of PNG. The land size is 300,000 square kilometers. Just to give you comparison, Papua New Guinea's land size is 462,840 square kilometers. So we have bigger land, they have lesser land, two-thirds the size of PNG land. Guess what the population is? 120 million people. 6 years ago when I read the statistics, there were 110 million people. Today, last night when I was revisiting some of my notes, there are 120 million people. And so it tells me population is increasing. Land size remains the same. And so going forward into the future, in the world within PNG's reach, the Asia-Pacific part of planet Earth, where PNG has close access for market, is a world that has 4 billion people within our reach. 1.5 billion in China, 1.5 billion in India, and the rest, when you throw in Japan, when you throw in Philippines, when you throw in Indonesia, when you throw in Australia and the Pacific, and of course our outreach to the great United States of America, who has become more involved with us now, and we're talking not just on military and other exchange. I see Ambassador with us, and welcome again. Thank you for your presence with us, Ambassador. We're also talking about trade and ramping up on trade, and especially food production, whether it's food from our land or food from our seas, so that we could export to the world out there. And so this conversation on agriculture is not a conversation that is in redundancy. Rather, it is a conversation that is in ascendance. The production of food will be important for not just PNG, but our export to the world out there. And I'm happy to see some of our Papua New Guineans stepping to downstream processing food products for export. That's something that we also are stepping into. I'm also happy that even the production for raw export, this must carry on. And our government stands ready to assist those who want to get their hands dirty and work in our society. A typical example of this or reflection is the fact that we started allocating money to support SME. Instead of lending to one-talks through politicians writing check at APEC Haus, we decided to partner lending institutions. I was a young freshman into politics in the 2007 to 12 Parliament. And I was there when politicians were writing checks at National Planning Department. Earlier in those days, for those who have long memory, we had a 230 million kina allocated for, they call it the National Agriculture. It was a fund. They call it is it Nari Fund or National Agriculture Fund, something. People writing check at APEC Haus to paper farmers. And I felt, as I became Prime Minister and supporting SME, I felt we cannot be writing checks from departments. We must partner lenders in society. And I looked directly at TISAs and other lenders. I was happy to see Money Plus and other lending institutions outside. And Central Bank being the mother of all lending institutions, we want to work closely so that lending institutions are geared up to assist those who are actually out there in our country with their hands dirty in doing SME and especially in the agricultural sector and also other business. So that focus of government will carry on simply because that is the sector where we could easily unbundle more of our people into economic activities rather than living life of waste. And so I want to comment, 6 years on, I'm seeing it getting stronger and stronger. We stand ready to support our target. Our MTDP 4 target is that we must, at the earliest, bring 1 million family into an SME activity. That's our target in the MTDP 4. 1 million family must be engaged in an SME activity. And if you do not know what type of SME activities to engage for the country out there, I point to you agriculture as the place of easiest point of engagements. Simply because food is an everyday need. And in our own country, we spend over 2 to 3 billion kina importing foods that we can be producing in country. So if we can replace the import of food by going into production ourselves. I was happy to see, pick up a contact and I will get my guys to work on it. I saw a company that is doing goat and sheep, and goat and sheep, and I saw another company doing chicken. We're still importing chicken, believe it or not, from outside. We're still importing beef, believe it or not, from outside. That is why I created a livestock minister, just to focus on production of food here, so that we supply our own market as well as the export to Indonesia and to the world outside and around us. And so we will be focused more on import substitution and ramping up our own production locally, so that that gap of capital flight that is taking, where we're spending 2 billion kina outside importing rice, beef, chicken, all these things is stopped and we produce locally. So for innovators out there who want to make a big step up to domestic food production, you will get the support of government, and we will work with the lenders to target a targeted lending to those of you who are in this sector. Is that okay? So I just want to... So those who want to participate in import replacement, especially in the agricultural sector, and you want to produce in country, we will tailor products with lenders so that we have a targeted support to you, so that you could be producing. You will assist our economy by stopping capital flight, you create jobs, and you add value to our economy by producing locally. And as you produce locally also, we live in an integrated world. I meet all the leaders of I've met in my 6 years now, leaders of 13 of the world's biggest economy. I have a regular line contact with them. My contact with them always is on me producing to supply your market. And they're saying, when are you going to produce to supply my market? The markets. Markets are available. The last time I was in Indonesia, Indonesia president told me 11% of his GDP is oil palm based. And when are you going to migrate to the oil palm sector? You are not moving a big way. Agricultural secretary, you are sitting there, and your OP colleague should be working hard in this space. And so they're ready to embrace our produce. I returned from China, meeting China's President Xi Jinping and Premier, the Prime Minister, and with one of the directions they gave right away after our meet was that our agricultural produce now, the phytosanitary requirements is now ticked off. We could produce and export straight to the big Chinese market. This has been ticked off, never done before. We've now prepared our export to the Chinese market already. In 3 weeks' time, I'm going to Japan. And the last time I met Prime Minister Yasuda, he told me his country needs energy. And I said, of course, I could supply energy to you, but I also have energy for your people. We could supply food to you, not just tuna, but other agricultural produce. So Japan stands ready to accept our produces. Korea stands ready to accept our produces. India, the Indian Prime Minister came here, we met in this room. They stand ready to accept our produces. It's about us stepping out, producing, supplying our own market, and then supply the world that is within flight and within a ship reached from Port Moresby, Leh, and our other export centers. So I just want to indicate to all of us, this conversation is not waste. It is not a conversation that will go away. James Marape can go away, but Papua New Guinea must not forget this conversation on agriculture. Produce to supply and satisfy our own market demand here. Also, we earn from export earnings, produce to export to the markets that I have worked so hard in the last 6 years to establish market that is within our reach, closer to home than the market that is further away from us. Of course, farm markets remain to us. European Union remains a very good market for us. The big buyers of our produces, and they have been a traditional market. They will still be our traditional market, but the new markets closer to home are coming to life, and I just want to encourage all our SMEs here that government will work with our SME offices, our Commerce and Industry Department, our Ministry for International Trade, and all state agencies to link to you. And I want in this sort of exchanges, you as practitioner of SMEs in our country, if there's anything else you feel government must do and we have not done, then we stand ready to be continually advised, and the correct advices and the good advice you give us, hopefully we will turn around in quick time to make those being delivered so that you could increase in your own activities as businessmen and businesswomen in our country. I want to encourage all of you, keep on working. Our economy is and will continue to grow in a big picture. If I can speak on the economy, our 5 major projects still remain on target. Papua LNG is delayed by 1 year, but the project partners, all 4 of them have indicated to me, Total, ExxonMobil, Santos, and Kumul Petroleum have indicated to me that it is not abandoned, it is still on target, delayed by FID by 1 year because of a cost blowout. But Papua LNG still there for us. This time next year, hopefully, they've announced the final investment decision. It will be a $12 to $15 billion construction project. ExxonMobil is now waking up to ramp up to synergize Pyongyang LNG to go back to back with Papua LNG, and very soon we'll be announcing Wafi-Golpu. For those of you who are at Leh, Najaf, Morobe province, Wafi-Golpu will be a 40 to 60-year-old copper mine, gold and copper mine. Those projects are up in the horizon. As I speak today, Pogra is 100% now full production. They achieved 100% production earlier this week, and so I just want to announce that those will be anchor of our economy. They will contribute substantial, but those will be totally like flood that comes and goes if the people do not anchor the economy in practical other aspects of businesses, and that is where our focus on SME remains. And I want to say thank you for those of you who still have the heart to partner government. Bigger issues like enabling infrastructures, we're working on the infrastructure. Today, if you go to Leh and drive to Hagen, what used to be a 12-hour drive, you can now do it in 6 hours. Our intervention in infrastructure will continue. Our Connect PNG focus is to link to the outlinks I give you one example. In 2020, I dropped down in Kantiba. They have a lot of coffee there. Unannounced, one Sunday, I got on a chopper, I picked the Gulf Governor and I picked the Works Minister and Works Secretary. I said, let's fly out. And they said, where are we going? And I said, Kantiba. No one knew we were going to Kantiba. We dropped down that Sunday into Kantiba. And the people were surprised. They came out, they were shocked to see us. And we got together. There was about 20 or 30 of them. And they said, Mr. Prime Minister, we've got coffee here. We heard you talk about agriculture. How can we get our coffee to market? And I promised them, road is coming. Well, today it's not a super highway, but the road's been, as I speak today, excavation machine has gone into Kantiba, a place that has never seen roads since creation. Well, I'm almost ready to sell more vehicles that will be passing by into that place. And, so we'll be building more roads and opening up roads. We're partnering Australia, for instance, in 6 of our major ports. The reason why we have to do ports is that these are outlets and facilities to export our produces that we are producing. So ports, roads, and infrastructures, if it means still borrowing for these infrastructures, we'll borrow for infrastructure so that the production we ramp up domestically can be exported elsewhere. So I just want to give you all a big snapshot that in the big picture, we're working. We have got the infrastructure plan, the agriculture plan, the SME plan outlaid, but getting the mechanics of it working at the micro level is a struggle that we all faced with. If there's anything that I can do, or government can do, we stand ready to be advised. I want to conclude with the story of Minister Windaki, the Commerce Minister. He is not here right now, but his story is inspirational to all young Papua New Guineans. I'll give you 2 stories before I say for those of you engaged in SMEs. Minister Windaki left grade 10. And I picked that story when he said in front of me when we were addressing University of Technology students 2 years back. He left grade 10. He picked no offer. Chris, you were listening? Minister Daki, you would know him. So he left grade 10 and his father was a councillor in the village. His father gifted him a spade and a bush knife. He said, my son, I'm proud that you finished grade 10. And his father gifted him a shovel, a spade, and a bush knife. And I said, son, since you were battered, I had a plot set out for you. This is your land. You're now an adult after grade 10, and go back to the farm. Well, he went to the farm, listened to his father, and he went to the farm and he started to plant broccolis and cabbages, selling to Hagen Market. Later on, his produce was getting bigger. He bought a second-hand bus, and then he started to take the produce and some PMVs to lay. And he was doing this, and for about 5 or 6 years, and his money started to grow. He entered politics in 2017, but he was already in business for 15 years, from one bus to the second bus, and to a third bus, and more agricultural produce back home, Hagen Market, from Tambul, Hagen Market to Lay Market. By the time he entered politics in 2017, he was a multi-millionaire already, all from working hard, from farm and one small bus to the second bus to the third bus. Before he came into politics, he had over 100 vehicles as hire cars in our country. Did you get this? It's not from the oil and gas provinces that I come from, or the mining provinces. Pure agriculture, from cabbage, broccoli, carrot, from the Mount Gilliway Mountains, market to Hagen and Lay. 1 bus, 2 bus, 3 bus. Before 2017 elections, he had over 100 vehicles that he was leasing to, and DCCL was one of his major clients. And so I just want to say that success stories are bound for those who want to work hard in our country. Government looks forward. I'm an SME government, SME-focused government. We look forward to assist those of you who want to work hard. Is that okay? We look forward to assist those of you who want to work hard. But I want to leave with this, another second last story. I said 2 stories, but a second last story. One Chinese told me one time, And this relates to a Warren Buffett story that I read, or I sort of saw. Thanks to YouTube, I saw Warren Buffett speak about 3 days ago. This Chinese man story really hit me hard. He told me some 6 or 7 years ago. He said, "You Papua New Guineans, if you put a Chinese and a Papua New Guinea in business, the Chinaman just looks down and it's like a greasy pole. He climbs and climbs and climbs without looking left and right. It just does and focus on business. But the Papua New Guinean, he just climbs and he looks right and looks left and looks right and participates in every other thing in society, including trying to contest elections and being a big man in society, and not focus on business. The Chinaman is just focused on business. The Papua New Guinean just focus on every other thing, including business. And most times the business goes wrong. Mr. Baliki, you are laughing at me as a banker. You know this. Chinaman, Pasimana, who gives us a go on top? You mean, Marape second Mary, buying VX. When the house cry comes, instead of just putting a 500 kina in a house cry, the dead is dead. Let the dead bury the dead. But we go and put 10,000 kina in a house cry. And we participate in so many things that do not look after the little business that should be looking after you and allowing the business to grow. I want to leave with Warren Buffett's story, one of the richest men on planet Earth. He drives a SUV, and the last vehicle he has today is it was quoted as saying 12 years old. He's been driving for the last 12 years now. He still lives in the house he lived in 1958 when he bought that house. He eats a simple breakfast, $7 a day breakfast. Doesn't change clothes every now and then, doesn't get engaged in politics, just focus on business. I want to ask all of you who are out there in society, I know it is tough out there. Tell us as your government what we can do to improve you out there. Already instructed Mr. Koim in our text to look at flexible tax calculation or tax deduction scheme. If the economy grows, I can give you my guarantee that I'm a pro-reduction of tax sort of a politician. I believe in reducing tax, and we could collect fairly right across. So that's something that we're looking on in the midterm. But right now it is tough out there. Tell us what we can do. And we will try our very best to assist. But for you, my ask is that don't look all over the place. If you're already in SME, just focus on SME. Just focus on SME, look after your business, put God's money back to God, put your business money back to business, and you will do well in a country that is growing economically. Thank you very much.